the ground in pain. Margaret was worried. Cyan remembered how Kranz used to mistreat him at that age. The oppression had even continued at the academy. He wanted to cut the evil at its root. In this life, he would forge his own path. Kranz was defeated. The Duke summoned Cyan, and even cleared his schedule to see him. Cyan was assigned a high-ranking knight named Yulkin as his escort. Margaret looked furious, and Cyan rather enjoyed it, even asking her if Kranz was alright. She was outraged by his boldness, and called him a monster. Margaret believed bastards should not be treated well, insulting his mother and saying he should be out on the streets begging for food. She crossed the line, and Cyan felt the urge to kill her. At the same time, he thought it would be better to make her suffer. He calmly informed her that he would be attending the academy alongside Kranz. She did not understand what he meant. Cyan then remarked that if she wished for her son to keep all his limbs intact, she had better be careful. Furious, she tried to slap him, but Yulkin stopped her, stating that the Duke was in a hurry and could not be kept waiting. The two continued on their way. Cyan loved every moment of it. In the end, even the Duke's wife could not command the knight. Soon after, Cyan entered his father's study and greeted him. His father's name was Willius Vert. He invited his son to sit. Willius was the great feudal lord of Volius, though the world knew him by another name. Willius was called the guardian of the continent, the hero who had held back the demonic invasion for many years. He possessed immense magical power and ancient wisdom, bearing tremendous responsibility until his death fighting the army of the demon kingdom. Willius sought peace for the continent. However, Cyan's memories of Willius were different. Cyan had lived his life serving others, like a fool. Willius recalled seeing Cyan dodge the sword earlier. Noticing how the boy had looked directly at the sword's path, he wanted to know how his son had learned to wield a blade. Cyan explained that he had not learned from anyone. He had simply practiced alone every night. Willius had never seen Cyan show interest in fencing before, and told him he should not hide his abilities. Cyan excused himself by saying he did not want to attract attention. Willius was truly surprised by his son's performance, though he felt Cyan's actions after Kranz fell were unnecessary. Cyan believed his father was testing his abilities, so he explained that he simply wanted to prove to himself that he was better than Kranz, even if they shared the same blood. Willius liked the boy's answer. He had not known Cyan was so talented, and he was delighted, believing that one day Cyan would become an excellent and reliable support for Ashel. That caught Cyan off guard. He had no intention of becoming Ashel's aide again, especially seeing how obsessed his father was with Ashel. In any case, his father wanted to reward him for the duel, and said he would grant him whatever he asked. Cyan, determined to ruin everything Ashel tried to accomplish, made his request. The scene shifted to Emily, who stood there jaw-dropped. Cyan had asked to be sent to the front lines. Nothing was decided yet, but Emily thought he had completely lost his mind. She warned him that the place was filled with terrifying, malevolent demonic beasts. Valius, the western fief of the Ushif Empire, was the only place on the entire continent referred to as the front lines. The Lamea Valley was known as the Vanguard, a brutal battlefield against demons that had raged for hundreds of years. Though Cyan's father initially opposed the idea, he gave him a condition. Cyan would have to prove himself worthy of going to Lamea Valley within a month. Cyan did not know what criteria his father would use to judge him worthy, but he resolved to increase his physical strength as much as possible. He still retained the battle instincts he had before his regression, and he also possessed a small amount of magic. All he needed to do was train. Suddenly, a girl burst into his room, shouting his name. It was Alice. She began shaking him, demanding to know if he had gone insane. She had heard about the request he made to their father, and believed that defeating Kranz had gone to his head. She dragged him to the rooftop, and the scene shifted to the two of them standing there. She declared that she would allow him to go to the front lines if he could endure her attacks for 3 minutes. Poor Cyan thought she was going too far. In any case, she asked whether he was after the family title. That was when he understood why she was acting that way. But he had no interest in the title. They drew their swords. Cyan felt that the day had become completely chaotic. Alice was incredibly fast. He managed to block her